It is April the 10th. Oh, but it's Thursday.
Mm.
See? It's Thursday, April the 10th, 2025. I'm Grantham Taylor Hughes for my show, The Grantham Taylor Hughes Show, with my guest host, Lena Suzanne. Hi, Lena. Was that too fast?
No, that was perfect. Hello, Grantham.
See, right away, I just go into it, right? I don't hesitate with the whole thing because everybody's picking on me about talking too fast. So I'm not talking really fast. Yeah, well, how about the Saker? Did anybody mention anything about that? I mean, speaking in tongues, which makes no sense at all. So when I'm speaking fast, then it's probably closer to Saker. Wouldn't you think so? I
Mm.
think so.
Let's hear some really fast Saker then.
Is that fast enough?
No, a little bit faster.
That's as fast as I can go, I think. I don't think I can go any faster. But they used to, hey, in my karate dojos years ago, when you're doing these trials to get new belts and stuff. I remember the senseis were going, faster, 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 go faster. And I can't go any faster. I'd stop them. I can't go any faster
Mm.
with their hand speed, like this, going real quick and boxing and fighting. I'm going, I can't go any faster. They're going faster, faster, faster. I'm going, I can't go faster. And
Ah,
I'd stop, going, it's ridiculous. See? So they want me to go faster, but they wants me to speak slower, speak very slowly. They have a radio show in Europe, and people might be aware of it. It's called the USA Radio. And everybody speaks very slowly on purpose. They go, hello, how are you today? My first interview is with Charles Smith. Hello, Charles. How are you? I'm just fine. How are you, Frank? I hope you're having a nice day. You see, and then after you listen to it for a while, you go going insane, and you want to turn it off quickly and then what I said to people, if I spoke that way in America, they would think I'm a dumb guy.
I've I've been told that
I know
I
you're going to edit a bunch of this out, right?
no, we're keeping this. This is
Are
the
you keeping that?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, there you go.
These are the best bits. I've been told that I speak very slow, or that I'm very slow generally. So everything's slow about me.
Well, but I like that. You're velvety and it's a nice velvet tone. And when I first met you, I swooned. I just passed out like that, which is really good. I mean, that's really nice. I mean, for whatever it is, that's just you, and that's important. Whatever your style is, we should support that. And it's just like the lady in the Q&A said, whatever I'm doing, I'm looking younger. Well, that's the whole point. I'm on a restoral thing. What do they call it? Resurrecting. I can't think of the term right now. When you
Rejuvenating.
rejuvenation, right? I'm on a 18-year rejuvenation cycle because I started the raw veganism when I was in my late 50s. And then, after spending a long time, 57 years of debauchery and eating and everything, you're starting to wind down. And then the rejuvenation cycle, there's really no time period for it because it's up to you in order to what you need to do that. And then where are you going with it? I'm going to turn into 2 years old eventually, becoming so at some point there's a stasis and it's like my Lama teachers look very young too, and they're really ancient. They look maybe in their 40s. And a pretty person in their 40s is pretty young looking. To younger people that are younger than 40, oh, that's old. I'm saying 40, but or 30, late 30s or early 40s, you're still looking pretty good there in terms of orthodox views of what you look like. But then we're always saying if you don't like something, because we've been talking about the body brine lately. I mean, you can change anything in your physical body, utilizing the brine. And the interesting thing about that, we utilize it anyway. This is an adjunct to what we were talking about, I think, the last video in reference to the body brine. The interesting part is when you get control of some of these things we're talking about, you're consciously programming it, then you're not just diffusing that brine out of your body and it's going somewhere else and being utilized. It was kind of like negative thoughts and negative ideas. We're saying you should go into the bindu and not spin them down and get rid of them. Like if you're having a tough time with something, there's negativity in your life, you should spin it into the bindus. It's kind of imagination spin, and you spin it in a lever rotatorial fashion, counterclockwise. Spin it counterclockwise into the bindu. So you utilize the darkness in your life because you need darks and lights to create manifestation. So it's the same idea with the brine. When we're talking about your body, Brian, you can program it because even allopathic medicine says you can program water, which I thought found was really interesting that they were sort of getting edgy with that, like new agey, edgy stuff. But anyway, so when you get consciously aware of your brain, you can program it to do anything in your physical body, correct it. So it's a pretty powerful statement here, because then you say, well, what am I supposed to be programming to? Well, since I believe in reincarnation and you have this gene, this essence of what you are, the microzymus within you, the first living species in your body is, if that, it's an ancient gene of your perfect self, which you can get into that if you want to. Years ago in Twilight Zone, they had a show where everybody was going to look like these people, and you picked out these beautiful people and stuff. And so anyway, you can get into the bride and fix anything. That's what I've been doing recently, and I'm looking younger with that, like the lady said, because I'm programming the brine. That's real interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
Mm,
go ahead.
it is, yeah. I was going to ask Grantham because I've spoken to a couple of people recently, and one's had immediate effects from the brine, positive effects,
Oh,
and
wow. That's cool.
another has said, oh, they're just going to keep practicing because they haven't seen anything yet. So, what's the difference between these people? Why will it work quickly for some people and
Okay.
not for others?
That's a very good question because the timing thing, it depends on a person's power. Remember, we were trying individual power that you have. If people are more inclined exoterically, they're probably going to change things quicker. If you're prone to be an esoteric, like an inside type thing, introspective, then you might go slower with that. But then how do you regulate introspection versus exoterism? You see, so people are, I don't know. I think the power, wherever the power is mostly, could be generally how you speed things up. I'm not certain of that because everybody's so individual. In other words, to pinpoint another individual is nearly impossible. So we go with facsimiles. We make guesswork out of things, just like when we were talking about earlier. You can't give vent to anything in specificity because the logic is a failure anyway. Like when I was doing the Saker a minute ago, that's not a failure because it's just your expression that your sound that you're speaking is an expression of the universal sound, if you will. And then the logic is now duplicate. Now you're going to analyze that sound and turn it into words and things of that nature to define. So that becomes a problem when you get into analysis versus just expression, expressing your sound, expressing your voice, and that's important. But I think in terms of timing of getting things accomplished, you just have to do the discipline and keep at it because they say even if you don't believe in the yantra, it will still work because it's a practice. See, so it's an individual. The answer to that question is individual powers. Like the woman that had immediately was I don't know if it was a woman or a man who had immediate results. That's great because they're a very powerful person. That would be somebody to talk to because
Mm,
their abilities and skills and what have you. And I'm very supportive to anybody who's willing to practice. I assure you, things don't come back to you void.
mm,
It's not possible. Because it's cause and effect. Any action, there's an equal and opposite reaction to it. That they call that the third law of thermodynamics, or I call it light dynamics. I took out the heat and the thermodynamics because it's fast light. And then remember we talked about friction. The friction is we'll experience friction in the body, and they call that heat in the body. And I'm saying no, it's just light in the body. It's fast light spinning. It's not really heat. See, and that's a,
Sorry.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you,
But go ahead. I'm sorry, I
are you
got off
talking
on the right
about
foot.
when you talk about friction, do you mean when people have inflammation in the body? No.
Yeah, in other words, when you're an area in your body is not properly hydrated, there'll be friction, the rubbing of tissues together because they're not properly lubricated or cooled down. Then there's friction in the body, and that can result in friction issues. You see what I mean? So the friction will equate to our body. You'll feel pain when there's friction. You see, so in order not to feel pain, you need to send brine to that immediately, or drink some water, or take the humidity out of the air. Those are the three levels of hydration. So if you have any pain, you can send the brine to the pain, and it will go away usually right away. It works with me that right away too. The brine works with me because I've been dealing mega hydration for a long time. But I do I'm a quick study on these things too, or quick results with things. So anybody has quick results, I just love to hear what they have to say about things because they may create an empire quickly with their yantra. I
Hmm.
mean, it's all out there. I mean, we're already creating our world around us. You might as well create what you want. See,
Mm.
consciously created is what we're talking about here. Just get whatever you want. There's plenty of room, plenty of space, and we applaud your wealth. You know, you play. And by the way, can you loan me $10? Oh, sorry. You rich people out there? You see me? So when you create an empire, I'm more proud to you. That's really great. That you can, more power to you, more proud to you. I guess you could say more proud to you. Yes, I'm more proud. You know, more power to you is the old phrase. Because as I said before, that's what we're about here. We're trying to help people build their empires. Why not? There's plenty of space. There's plenty for everybody. That's the wonder of it all. Remember we were talking about that, the wonder of it all, the
Hmm.
great mystery of people. We're all mysteries, and we're trying to help that mystery along to do really well in your life and have a positive life and live long and prosper, right? Okay, Spock. Thank you, Mr. Spock. Are you into Star Trek? Are you a Trekkie? Yeah, I am actually. I really like Star Trek a lot. However, their technology stinks. You know, fusion technology is really awful. They need to do relostatics. But that's my gig that we're coming up with toy and whatnot. Anyway, get in there. I know you're trying to say something.
No.
Oh, you weren't? You're just laughing. Well, that's okay.
Love.
Laughter still sound bites. See, laughter's a sacred too. It's sounds of a child. We're making sounds all the time. Yes, go ahead. Now, see, a thought came in.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
Interrupt cue. Here it is.
Uh,
Go, Lena.
uh, you went earlier, you were talking about the yantra, and you said if a person has a negative thought or something that's bothering them, they can spin it into the yantra counterclockwise to
Correct.
kind of
Mhm.
release it, to get rid of it. Um,
Mhm.
and I was
Well,
thinking,
you're not getting rid of it.
oh,
And
okay.
when it goes into the bindu, you're creating the darks. Like right now, you had a dark jacket on. See that would be considered negative polarity because it's black, right? But the white is a positive polarity. It creates a contrast in order to be able to see. So when you put negativity into the bindu, you're utilizing that negativity and the dark side. See that's people get nervous about that. You mean I'm gonna deal with all my demons and darkness? Yes, you have to utilize it. You utilize it for some very positive things in your empire. You can't see the room around you without dark stuff, without negative polarity,
Okay.
dark colors, see. So
So,
you utilize it, you don't get rid of it. Because if you get rid of it, somebody else is gonna use it.
so is it more like facing up to it, facing that darkness?
Well, it's building with it. You're using it as a building block. It's more like a brick. You're turning the black uh, darkness into bricks to build a building. Yes, my building is made with black bricks.
Kind of, you're building your empire by spinning it into the yantra.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You spin it into the Bindu, all positive, all negatives. Just spin it into the Bindu and put it in there, and it will build your empire, build buildings and everything around you. I mean, that's how the Angkor Wat, they said that there was a divine architect that did it overnight. He built Angkor Wat. It's a great, the temple in the city of Angkor in Cambodia. All these great cities and citadels were created by divine architects. And just like they had those crop circles in Oregon that suddenly appeared overnight, how did that happen? See, it happens because people have a lot of power. You see, just like this lady that had good results right away. Congratulations. I really would like to hear more about that. I'm sure you're a very important and special individual, and I appreciate extraordinary. I have to watch out for that term in Great Britain when you say special.
Mhm.
And but I like the fact that people are very skilled, and because I want to hear these positive things that people gain. But like I said, any practice you do doesn't come back to you void. It's going to build on everything. So all these things we talk about is helping with people's very positive empire. Build castles. I mean, in reality, build mansions, do whatever you want to. Have many of them. There's plenty of space to do that. Why not? Have a
Mhm.
bunch of toys. Do less and less about more and more. The tighter you go within, the more you go without. See, it's like a focus. Like the stiller that you are, the more that there is. And then the timing thing just means you stick with it. If we're dealing with mortality, you can live a long, long time and get things done. You will when you're disciplined. And it doesn't take a lot of discipline. 9 minutes is not much. I mean, people spend 8 hours in their disciplines, but if you just let that go and do your 9 minutes, and the empire will come faster because they're more focused on it. See, because the eyes are the creators. Don't forget, everybody, your eyes are creating everything around you. Sometimes it's too overwhelming, Lena. It's too powerful. They just want to let it all go and be dependent upon it. That's what we're doing anyway, and not taking the responsibility for the creation because sometimes that can be too overwhelming. You think, "Oh, you mean I'm God?" No, not really. Kind of a mini type thing. But in reality, when you're conscious of it, the more that you build this, the humility comes in there too, quite naturally. You see what I mean? When you're able to do all these wonderful things and for yourself, it's not competition. We're not competing with people. We need to applaud people. We need to commend people. Remember we were talking about that? Let's stop condemning people. Let's stop getting into the negatives and get into the positives and applaud people and say, "Wow, that's really wonderful that you're doing that." Don't compete with them. Don't be jealous with them because anything that anybody else can do, you can do as well. Like that, Wallace Wattles has that affirmation. He goes, "I can succeed. All that is possible. Anyone is possible to me. I am successful. I do succeed, for I am full of the power of success." It's can, is, am, do, and can, is, am, do, am. The six verbs in that affirmation. Really powerful because anybody that can have something, you can have it too. If somebody has three Rolls Royces, you can have six. But there's no competition in that, see? We just need to applaud people for the things that they do. And when they do that, when you applaud people and commend people, what do you get back in your mirror? You get commendations. Like when you say increase or if you applaud somebody, the applause comes back to you because you're waxing positivity and the wonder of it all. There you go. See, when you think of it as wonderment and wonderful things, what do you get back? You get wonderful things. We have a predilection to get in there quickly and condemn things. So what are you really condemning? Yourself. You have to appreciate that. It's a mirror. Our world is a mirror. So what do you put into that mirror? You get back in precision. It's scientifically precise that you get back in terms of the reaction. So what are we doing? If we put negativity in there, we're just condemning our own selves.
Mhm.
See, so we want to commend things. We want to commend people. We want to laud people. We want to give out awards. Let's go to the Academy Awards and have it every single day. Give out an Oscar every day of our life. We'll give an Oscar for the best performance today. Lena and Suzanne, here's an Oscar. Can you give an acceptance speech? Go ahead, Lena. Here's an Oscar for you. And
Thank
here's the Oscar. It looks like the Mariposa Bindu, the Yantra. Here's your Oscar. Can I get over there? No, I can't.
thank
Okay, you get it? Yeah,
you.
there you go.
I was thinking, Grantham, about the negativity that earlier we were talking about spinning into the Bindu, but also it occurred to me that well, if we're experiencing that negativity, negative thoughts or things that are bothering us, we can just switch away from the logic patterns of our normal everyday speech and that normal kind of internalizing and going over things with logical language, and we can just speak a seika, and then everything goes away, and it's
Sure, use it as a default mechanism.
Yeah.
Use a shaker whenever you get confused or whatever, or just like I said, spin it all into the bindu. Maybe you see what I mean? Because you can't get away from the negativity because that's exoteric life. Because you have the polarities of positive and negative. It's scientific, so you can't get rid of it completely. You can't make a perfect positive life, but you can get it down to low percentage. Like we have 66 and two-thirds of the world starving to death, we can get down that starvation level to about 5%. So we can do that even today by getting rid of the medium of exchange. But then are the bankers going to sit still for that? Of course not. They're going to rebel with that whole idea. But indirect trade is a way to do it. Just get rid of the money, and we have our society the same way it is, and then starvation would go down to 5% within 10 years. And
Mm.
that's an easy fix, isn't it? But it's not going to happen. But that's the Grantham Taylor Hughes. You heard it today for the first time. The fix for starvation. I'm taking light of that because it's really terrible. The starvation level is really high rate right now. That's I don't mean to make light of it, but we're only talking about 2 billion people adequately fed, and you got 6 billion people are starving to death. That's terrible. It is. I mean, we need to really get on that quite a bit. And like I said, I have a fix for it, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because people think they're going to have to give up their empires. And I'm saying, no, all you have to do is do the entree and it'll come to you anyway. It'll come from all sorts of avenues. It'll come from everywhere if you put the focus on it, though. But
Mm.
again, it's a matter like the gentleman that tried to do it for a week and had some trouble. Well, keep at it, sir, because you'll be surprised how incredible your life will change quite a bit because you're changing it yourself. I'm not saying it, you're changing it by your attention on the work that you need to do. But
It-
it's but again, you can't just do nothing in life and expect to get something. But
So
we're making it easy. We're making easy avenues. So go ahead, kid. Sorry.
you were saying you've got a fix for this starvation problem. So do you think that if people in the West individually are doing their yantra and putting their attention on the bindu, that can somehow manifest a better life for those people who are in poverty and starving?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're the creator. You're creating it anyway, starvation levels, because it's part of the negative polarity. So the more that you are disciplined about your focus in a positive way, that will change the world. So good for you. Thank you very much. That's a very good fix for that. And I've thought of that many times before, just like Brian can fix your creation too, as well. So we're all doing these very positive things that are going to change a lot of things in the future quite naturally without any type of argument or antithesis. It gets synthesis is a golden age, and that's what's coming up is the golden age will be a synthesis time, the knowingness arena, and everybody will have everything for everybody. Like that's Charles Dickens, right? In Christmas Carol. Everything for everybody and not making light of that because it's true. I mean, there's no reason why you can't do this. And they'll think, well, Grantham Taylor is a positive thinker, like those positive thinking priests, and ministers in the past. He's a positive thinker. Why? I am really in terms of the motivation of that. I thank you very much. If you think that, I appreciate that. Because there's no reason not to be positive. And see, the problem is when people are negative, they think there's limitations. They're in competition. And we're on Earth, we're on a ball, limited landmass, right? So that means we're trying to vie for the landmass because it's limited. But when we realize it's unlimited in the app, then there's space for everybody. For 8 billion people could be rich. It's not going to happen. We can go 70-30 on that, though. 30% won't do it because they're just going to be heuristic and for the sake of argument and criticizing the Flux Citizen and Hill pillificators of this world, negative critics, that you can't get rid of that because that's just the nature of the polarities. You can't get it perfect. And right now we're maybe 1% positive, 99% negative. That's really low, isn't it? Okay, but you reverse that in a golden age of 99.9999999, which would be 1 millionth of a percent negative. That's how beautiful it can get in a golden age. But then you still have the karma ball. If anybody's ever seen the karma ball, it has a white side, a dark side, and a little S in the middle. And then the white side, there's a black seed, and on the black side, there's a white seed. So it's a seed of the positive and the negative, and the seed of the negative and the positive, and that's how it works. So you can't get it perfect. See, there can't be efficiency because it's a marginal efficiency of capital, as quoted by John Lord Maynard Keynes back in the 1930s. He was a proponent of the marginal efficiency of capital, mentioned it in his book, Money, Interest, and Employment, which is one of my Bibles economically. See, now this is really good information. People say, I have no idea what he's talking about. Well, just repeat it. I'll repeat it millions of times on our videos anyway.
Mhm.
I know I'm a bright man. At the same time, I like things in history. I don't know all of history and say, gosh, he knows everything. He's encyclopedic. Well, maybe, but at the same time, it's very interesting information and very cogent for the times because we do live in a marginal efficiency of capital and it can only be eke out like 70%. You can't do efficient efficiency because that's OCD. Now it becomes obsessive compulsive things to get everything perfect. Nowadays people are being very eccentric about everything, a place for everything and everything in its place, which I agree with. But I never do that because my hands are too fast and I put things down. Where are my gloves? I have no idea where they are.
Right. Before we go, I just wanted to say that I was just reflecting on what our conversation about the um, poverty and the Sri Yantra. So really, with the Sri Yantra, we're not just creating an empire individually for ourselves, we're creating an empire for others.
Absolutely. Well said. I appreciate that. You are. We're laying the groundwork for everybody to have their own empire. And then you're really doing it for them anyway with your discipline. See, that's the beauty of the whole thing. It gives a lot of power to the individual, but don't get overwhelmed by it. So you just go with it. And like I said, we'll get into the golden age. And Maxwell Maltz wrote a book years ago called Psycho-Cybernetics. And cybernetics means there's steermanship within you. In other words, it steers you into balance. You don't have to be overwhelmed by the power that you have because a lot of people don't want the power and they just want just a little bit of something. But in their heart of hearts, they want more. Like when Wallace Wattles was talking about in chapter 14 of the book, The Science of Getting Rich, he talked about the impression of increase. And he's talking about everybody wants more and more of everything, beauty, more money, they want more things, they want more toys. They want more paintings. They want to go to Sotheby's and get into the auctions. It's fun to do, by the way. Anyway, so you see, and these things are very expensive nowadays. So people need a lot of money, and the money's right there. Your only employer that you need is a Sri Yantra. That's your employer. That you employ that focus of your own eye attention on the center, everything will come to you. But again, it's a discipline. You can't expect to get something without doing a little bit. I don't know how much easier I can get it in 9 minutes. I mean, that instead of 8 hours or 10 hours of work every day, do 9 minutes of work every day.
Mhm.
That's too much for me. Can I do 10 seconds? Yeah, do 10 seconds. 10 seconds at least be something. You see what I mean? Anything you do doesn't come back to you void. See, if you don't do anything, if you're going to sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais, you better have some money to do it. You
Mhm.
see, you wonder how do all these people do it? How to do it with all this money? Well, they do it because they're focused somewhere. Our eyes are the creator. Wherever you look at, and people are very successful, they've used their eyes on a focus. You could probably pin them down and say, sure, but it's hard to get millionaires to fess up and talk about things. There was a guy on a television show that was trying to go knock on people's doors in Beverly Hills, and they weren't very accommodating at all. But how did you get this big house? I'll see you later. Get out of here. How'd you get past security anyway? Okay.
So, Grantham, I think we have come to the end of the
Oh,
show.
yeah. We come to the end of this segment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you everyone for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Bye for now. Bye for now.